So, my friends, let us jump in. Let us jump in. I think I know most of the people on the call. And so we don't necessarily need to jump too deep into introductions. And so that is good, but I am James Robilotta, and this is Laura Lavender. We are a dream team. At the end of this call, I'm excited. Laura doesn't know this, but I'm going to have her tell you a little bit about her coaching because of what we do, what we're talking about on this call. And I think that, she could potentially, based on what's going to come up in this call and our time together today, just having someone to talk to, she could be a really awesome resource. I know she checks me left and right in a really positive and meaningful way, and I'm very grateful to have her in my world. And so she is an exceptional coach. So we'll have her talk a little bit about that towards the end as well, just because I think we're going to get in a little deep today, y'all. You know how I like to do that. Here's another funny thing is that they literally just started washing my windows. So for a man with ADHD, this is going to be fun, y'all. Yes, exactly. I love it. So with that being said, friends, let's jump in. Today, we are talking about comparison. And comparison, the famous quote, comparison is the thief of joy. Love that quote, not my quote. But we know that this is something that most of us do. Most of us do. There's a number of reasons why we do it. And so the reason why this came up is because I did it recently. I did it very recently, and I was like, this is not helpful. This is not helpful, and I'm going to actually read this conversation that I have with you. This is with another speaker buddy of mine, and I just checked in with him. Just to be like, yo, how you doing? What's going on? What's happening down in Charleston, South Carolina? I know you're involved in a lot of diversity and equity inclusion work. Like, this has got to be, you got to be all over the place. You yourself are Black as well. So like, you're carrying, but you're also trying to help. And like, there's a lot going on. How you doing? And so I just wanted to reach out to my buddy down there. And he said, after we talked a little bit about the social situation, what's going on today, and whatnot, and his stuff on that was important, just not applicable to this moment. But he said, however, I've been able to lean right into my business brand. I've been opening and talking openly about racism, structural inequality, and justice in healthcare, launching my new brand in July that will focus on leaders who work to end unfairness, incivility, and injustice in the workplace. I've been baking this in the oven for more than a year, and I'm really excited. And he said, I'm also in the process of getting a commercial loan to buy some rental property because that extra income is going to help me pay some bills. And I asked him what is the problem that he's trying to solve. He said, I solve the problem of unfairness. The message is to make it right, and how you make it right is called the justice cycle. That's what he's coming up with. So he's helping companies do things around better culture, less turnover, no lawsuits, protect your reputation, greater respect and admiration. His brand is called The Admired Leader. His name is Anton Gunn, 2 N's, and he's a great dude. He's already got a TED Talk lined up. He just lined up, and so he then proceeded to tell me about all these other things that's going on with his world. And he's like, oh, and the book is coming out soon. I've just finished putting the finished touches on my book. And he said literally, and I commissioned a national research study on incivility in the workplace and on analysis and social consciousness. I wanted to see how many people experience or see injustice at work, and then how many of them stood up versus stood by and let it continue. I have data for 5 industries: healthcare, higher ed, government, banking, finance, and technology. First off, my friends, I listened to this whole thing and I was like, oh, cool. Raise your hand if you're not doing anything even remotely close to that. Like, raise your hand if you just realize that the inside of your belly button smells a little bit. Raise your hand if you, are just proud that you actually put pants that have a zipper on today. And so I was in this whole moment watching this and be like, oh, jeez. like I felt pretty good. I was like, I kind of got these webinars happening. That's kind of fun. I started this little talk show on Wednesdays, and that's cool. I was like, but I haven't done any of these other things. What am I actually doing with this time? Am I using this time wisely? Like, bro, you're kind of wasting it. And then poor Laura, we met last week. We met last week or the week before, and I was like, Laura, I think we need to start writing our books together. And I was like, I have a book idea. We got to get this book out. And I was like, where's your book at? And then because Laura is also writing a badass book. But it was just one of those things where it's like, I'm not doing enough. I'm never doing enough. And in my life, there are two warriors inside of me. If you were on Diner Talks last night, you heard me talk about this, but there's two warriors inside of me. When I say warriors, because that sounds cool, they're probably actually just two old men arguing on a park bench. But still, one of them is the balance of legacy, is the battle of legacy, and the other one is the battle of presence. And often legacy wins for me. And legacy tells me you're not doing enough. Legacy tells me you're wasting your time. Legacy tells me you're not impacting enough people. You're not this, you're not that, you're not whatever. Look at what all these other people are doing. Look how many followers they have. I was recently on a podcast called The Need to Fail. And I went back and looked at the last 20 people that have been on the podcast just to see how many followers they have, to see if I even remotely stack up against them. Why the hell did I do that? Why does that information matter, right? And so I did all of these things because it's legacy, it's building the brand, it's building the team, it's building the empire. But what am I missing out on right now? I have this fear in my life that I am focused too deeply on the future, that I'm missing what I'm going through right now. But I have this other fear in juxtaposition to that one that says, you're wasting your time. And what if you reach the end of the road and you look back and you say, I wasted my time? These are two things that cause me to sometimes dive deeper into comparison, because I do it in both ways. It's very versatile. It's a versatile approach because I can beat myself up no matter what, no matter what I choose. It's really smart. No, but I can beat myself up no matter either way. And I think we often get caught in the feedback loop of comparing ourselves to others. And so I want to talk to you a little bit about it today. And that's my most recent example. My dog is literally under my feet. Go lay down. Are you scared of the screen? I'm scared of the washer too, friend. Poor Shazzy out here. So let's talk about some of the reasons why we do this. Why we compare ourselves. But where I first want to start is where we compare ourselves. Can you see my Google slide deck? You can. Perfect. I've also received the feedback recently that you can also see my mouse moving. And for those of you with ADHD, that's probably distracting. For those of you who are type A, that's probably annoying. Either way, not productive. So here are some places where we compare ourselves. Here's the places where we compare ourselves. First off, obviously, the champion is social media. The champion is social media, Instagram, Facebook, whatever it is, even Twitter. And we compare our wit on Twitter and our worth. So those are places where we compare ourselves for sure. We don't need to really dive too deeply into social media. We kind of get it. Other places we compare ourselves are with our friends and our family, right? Do you compare yourself to your siblings or to cousins if they are closer to you, right? Do you have that brother or sister, stepbrother or sister that has done more than you? That is the golden child in the family, and all those kind of things. So where is that also in your friends? I have a group of friends that I consistently compare myself to. Because one of them is an astrophysicist who got his PhD at Carnegie Mellon, is currently trying to figure out how the universe started by developing a brand new kind of telescope. Again, I realized that Lucky Charms and Frosted Flakes are doing a mashup, and that's pretty much the most exciting piece of news in my life right now, right? Like, that's the kind of collab I want to be a part of. So I have other friends who work for NASA, another buddy who's the head of psychology at West Point, civil engineer digging tunnels and developing new waterway systems under New York City, right? Like, and I'm like, cool, cool, cool. I consistently compare myself to some of them. So there's that. Also, our coworkers. How often do we compare ourselves to the output of or the perceived output of our coworkers compared to the output of ourselves? Like, oh my gosh, look at Marsha. She does everything. It's crazy. She's on top of everything. It's, oh my God, I can't believe every report is crazy. It's perfect. It's branded. It's turned in early. I have no idea how she does it. I'm just over here flailing. I've just learned that there's hot water in the water machine. Also we compare ourselves to neighbors, right? Like this cliche, like sitcom battle of like, oh, look at their yard. Right, like that classic thing, or look at their car, those kind of things. Also, the gym is a really great place to compare ourselves. I'm sorry, Planet Fitness, with your lunk alarms, it's just not enough. I'm still comparing myself to the other person on the elliptical. And also everywhere else. Right? But these are the places where we compare ourselves. You may have some more specific locations that you do. I'd be curious, if you want, throw those in the chat if I didn't put them. Whatever falls under number 6 for you. What are some other places? I know, places like churches we compare ourselves enough. It's like, well, am I holding my hands high enough? Right? Like, am I doing this right? Am I whatever? Right? Like those kind of things. For sure. Those are other places where we compare ourselves sometimes. If you are a person of faith. So, but yeah, put in the chat if you got some other places that you compare yourselves that you think others may resonate with. So that's where. Now let's talk about why. There's a number of reasons. First off, we had to put this one up here because this one is out of our control, kind of, but it's very real. Think about marketing. Think about advertising. They are literally making money off of showing you what you could be if you tried hard enough, if you spent the money, if you cared, right? Like all of those things you could be. You could look like this. You could think like this. You could rid yourself of this. You could blank. You could blank. Just spend the money. Just buy this product. Just buy this program. Just buy this whatever. By the way, I do a program called Living Imperfectly Live. If you'd like to get out of your own way, I'd be happy to sell it to you. But still, like we have these things. We have these things that we advertise to individual that we are advertised to as individuals. It's like, oh, you're this kind of person? Are you really? Until you have this, right? Old Spice commercials are classic for this. Literally every product that's designed for women is this, right? So we know this. They just realized that men are comparing themselves as well as the way that they look. So now when you go into Target, there's a whole men's grooming section, so we can also get in on the game. Perfect. Thanks for your beard oil, bruh. Next. So advertising is obvious. We are also our own worst critic. And so in that we're constantly thinking that, like, oh, look at them, I don't have that, so I must be blank. Those kind of things are things that we say. Next. This is important to remember, but we compare ourselves to others, but we only see their finished product. Right? We only see the perfect cake that they baked on Pinterest. We only see their final video where they have edited and they have cut out stuff. We only hear their final podcast where they had someone go through and edit out all of their ums. We only see the final product that they're presenting in front of our team in the office. We only see the final outfit. We didn't see the process of picking out the outfit, or the plaque that they turned on that they tried on a shirt that made them feel uncomfortable, ugly, fat, whatever. We didn't watch that shame. We just watched how they feel in this beautiful finished product outfit. Those kind of things. We only see each other's finished products. And also, we live in a world right now where, you all know this, we've talked about this before, busy equals sexy right now, right? It is like a point of pride to be like, oh yeah, I'm busy. Oh, no, I'm real busy. Yeah, how you doing, bro? Busy. Hey, I'm like really busy. Oh, that's so cool, right? Like we glorify the concept of busyness right now, and it's been made to the idea of if you're not busy, then you're done. Then you're lazy. Then you're not living life. Then you're not going for it. It's kind of a victim of a capitalistic society right here. We're not going to touch politics, but it's a very real thing when you think of the concept of capitalism in general. And so, but we know this from a previous conversation when we were talking about work-life balance, is that busy doesn't equal productive. In your life, when you think about work, when are you busy? What does busy look like and what does productive look like? Busy looks like you're just getting caught in the email loop. Busy looks like you're going to committee meetings that have committees, subcommittees, right? Like busy looks like that. Productive looks like moving the needle. Productive looks like getting something done, accomplishing a task, and things like that. Even starting tasks is productive. That's so cool. I started that project. Those kind of things. And so, but in the idea of comparison, we think we need to be busy, but what are we busy doing? And so that's why we beat ourselves up, because we're busy being busy, not busy being productive. And that's the other dirty little thing, is that we need to define productivity. You need to define productivity for you, because how you define productivity is different than the person next to you, and being okay with the way that you define productivity is critical. So another reason why we compare ourselves is because it is so much easier to hear criticism than it is to hear compliments. Right? The classic, I got 100 comments, but the only review I read was the negative one. Right? My book on Amazon has just over 4 stars because someone gave it a 1-star review, and therefore the book is terrible. Right? I did a program on diversity, equity, and inclusion, and 3 people didn't think it was a good idea, but 1,000 people came to it. That must have been a terrible thing. I'm a terrible person. Like those moments, those kind of moments, the way that we hear criticism is not productive. Our chase of feedback, our chase of negative feedback is not productive. We are also allowed to chase compliments. And so that's a big thing. Again, for me, when I think about this, I often think about how I hate my birthday. I don't think I should be celebrated, right? I'm a straight white male with more than enough in my life. Like me living another year is not an accomplishment. We don't need to celebrate that, right? Like, as a matter of fact, if I didn't live another year, that probably means I was the problem. And so with that being said, I don't want the showering of gifts and attention on my birthday. I just like to spend my birthday with my family and the people who got me here today. And that's all I want to do, so I can spend my birthday thanking them, not being celebrated, because I don't think I deserve that. So that's a place where I struggle. Another thing that we do, or another reason why we do this, is because it's easier. It is easier to compare yourself to someone else than it is to look in the mirror. It is easier to be like, oh, look at them, I wish I had that, than it is to say, oh, look at me, maybe I could do that. It's easier to say should than it is to say could, and it's easier to say could than it is to actually do something. And so when we think about these are the reasons why we do this. These are the reasons why we do it. So here's what we're going to do. Here's what you're going to do. In the pursuit of trying to get out of the rat race of the hamster wheel that is the comparison Olympics, here's what you're going to do. First off, you're going to stop shooting on yourself. I don't care if I put this in every single presentation. You haven't stopped doing it yet. So I will keep it in there. So stop shooting on yourself. Well, I should do this. Well, I should do that. Oh, look at them. They did that, right? Look at my buddy Anton. He just did a full research thing. Maybe I should do a research thing because maybe my speech isn't valid enough. What I tell people isn't valid enough, right? Like, oh, Dr. Brene Brown has her doctorate. Maybe I should have my doctorate because then people will listen to me in the same way that they're going to listen to her. But until I get my doctorate, am I going to even have remotely the same amount of credibility? Probably not. Right? Like, where are the places where you are shooting on yourself and taking yourself out of the game before you even let yourself play it? Stop shooting on yourself. Next, it's important that we remember that you only know what others share with you. You only know what others share with you. You know nothing else. Right? I know in this world, the way that we talk about certain things, the way that we talk about pregnancy, the way that we talk about parenting, the way that we talk about love, the way that we talk about success, those kind of things, we only see the golden moments online. We often also only see the golden moments when we ask somebody, how are you doing? What's going on in your world? These moments are the things that people choose to share with us, are the small piece of their pie, but we don't know the whole story. We don't know about the arguments that the couple gets into that have made their love stronger. We don't know about those kind of things, or that have weakened their love. We don't know about the road to success for that individual in that company. We just see them with the title leading the meeting. We don't know about the journey that someone went on to try to have a kid. We don't know about and like that. It wasn't just like we decided to have a kid and we had a kid. Yay, miracles! No, right? Yay, God! No, okay. Like, we don't know about those kind of things. We don't know about people's stories. We only know what they share with us. And so it's important to remember that, because it applies the scope of humanity to you. It allows you to remember that, okay, well, if I wanted to share a highlight reel, I could also do that. And then what would people think about me? That would probably be wrong. So next, I need us to stop taking ourselves for granted. Every time you walk into a room, how do you walk into it? Do you walk into a room like, oh man, I shouldn't be here. Oh man, there's so many people who are more qualified than I am in this room. Oh man, there's a lot of people that are happy in this room. Oh man, a lot of people with a lot more followers than me in this conversation. A lot of people with all these kind of things. Do you walk in leading with your weaknesses? Do you walk in leading with your insecurities? Or do you walk in leading with your strengths? So many people I know, I had a conversation with a really good friend of mine yesterday. And when we picked up the phone, literally when we picked up the phone, she didn't even say hello to me. She was just like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry. You called me. I was supposed to call you. It's 11:02. We were supposed to talk at 11. I'm sorry. Do you walk into a room with, I'm sorry? What if your strengths made it so that you deserve to be in that room? How can we stop taking ourselves for granted and realize that every room that we walk into, we have something beautiful to add? You have a strength. That imposter syndrome that you feel is about one particular corner of your life. It's not every aspect of your life. Just because you don't walk in with everything doesn't mean you don't walk in with anything. So we need to stop taking ourselves for granted and realize that we have something to add in every single room that we are in. Lastly on this slide, there are 5 things that we're talking about today, is that you can do anything you want in this world. But that's not where you should start. You can do anything you want in this world, but that's not where you should start. You should start at places that feel right to you, that excite you, that love, that bring love, that bring warmth, that bring exuberance into your world. That's where we should start. Take care, Katie. Good to see you, friend. So this is important to think about because you can do anything you want, but that's not where you should start. Sometimes we feel like the world is super wide open, but the thing is that you're right. You could be an accountant. You could also be a plumber. You could also be a marine biologist. You could also be a chicken sexer. Okay. Like you could do a whole bunch of different things. That's a Dirtiest Jobs episode, worth your time. It's disgusting. But still, you can be anything you want, but that's not where you should start. You should start at things that bring you life, right? That's important. And the reason why is because I need you to seek alignment. I need us to seek alignment. Here's what that means. If you wanted to, you could plant trees all over, and each one of those trees would be a different idea that you have. Maybe I'll try this, right? No, maybe try. Let me do a cooking channel on YouTube. Oh, let me do a makeup tutorial on Instagram. Oh, let me do a Bible study on Facebook. Let me do a professional development series on LinkedIn. And yes, you can do all of those things. Again, you can do all of them, but that's not where you should start. I need you to first think about becoming aligned. And what being aligned looks like is trying to figure out what your trunk is. What is your trunk? What is your base that everything you do can build off of it? This is a recent concept that I've come up with, and I've been thinking about it. For example, my wife, Tina, is a professional speaker, and she's on a mission in life to make women feel less alone. That's her trunk. And so from that, she is able to teach sorority women how to better interact with each other and build tighter bonds. She's also able to go to companies and teach women about how to come together and see each other and fortify their strength as women in their companies. And she's also going to do women's retreats where she's going to make women feel less alone in this world and tell them that they are badasses and get them to see it for themselves. We're also talking about doing couples retreats in the future where we're going to talk about what does that mean and how does that same thing align within a couple. Every single one of those things comes back to the root. My root is authenticity and vulnerability. Everything that I do comes back to authenticity and vulnerability. The way that I talk about leadership, the way that I talk to men about why we choose cool over great, the way that I talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion it's from a place of learning, from a place of owning who you are before you can actually teach other people, in-reach before you outreach. What I do in Living Imperfectly Live is getting to your root, owning, becoming authentic with yourself, seeing yourself. What we're going to do with these couples retreats, again, talking to men or partners and couples about those kind of situations. They all stem from the same thing, and that enables me when I come up with a new project to be like, yes, I could do that, but is it aligned with who I am and what I cared most deeply about? And so for you, when you're thinking about this, when you're thinking about alignment, it's got to be a little bit further than I want to help people. That's not quite enough. It's not quite enough. But it needs to be one layer deeper, right? It's like I want to help people by helping them know that vulnerability and authenticity takes courage and are beautiful attributes that they should bring into every single room, into every relationship that they are in, and also into every bathroom that has a mirror, right? Like those moments are important. That alignment is crucial. And so it's that next layer. So if you're someone who wants to help people, if that's like, well, I think that's my thing. Like, I just want to help people. How can we get that one layer deeper? I want you to take a mental picture of who is the person that you want to help. Who is that person? Are they, are they college students? Are they veterans? Are they members of a specific group? Right? Are they Muslims? Are they women? Are they members of the LGBTQ plus community? Are they high school students? Are they geriatrics? Are they like what is it? Picture that individual And that's the next step. What do you want to help them do? Right? That's where we start to get into alignment. And that's why this matters. And that's what we can start to do today. So here's what I want to do. We're going to do some breakouts. I'll put you in these breakouts. You're going to be in these for about, probably like 10, 15 minutes or something like that. I really want you all to get in here and have some cool conversations. So I'm curious. There aren't many of us in the on this right now. Were there some themes that came up for any of you? You can just unmute yourself and shout them out. I don't know if there are some themes that came up in any of your groups. Maybe not.
I feel like in our group, all the women were talking about comparison of like body image and working out and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Where do you feel most of that pressure coming from? Is that social media? Is that just what you're taught as women? Where does a lot of that come from, Catherine?
Yeah, I feel like all of the above. But yeah, definitely social media. I mean, you're looking on there and just seeing like all these fitness people and you're like, I should be doing that, or lots of shoulds.
Yeah, right, for sure. Yeah. I haven't done a spider plank ever. I got to figure out how to do that. What's a spider plank anyway, right? Pictures of people doing box jumps onto their kitchen islands. God. Yeah, for sure.
I have a comment to that. I wonder if that, I wonder if people these days feel more pressure to be fit because maybe they feel in other aspects of their lives they don't have a lot of control and their body is within their control. And if they're not seeing like fitness gains, they feel like, wow, I can't even get that under control. I wonder.
Yeah, that's an interesting concept where they use that as something that they can control. Yeah, I appreciate that insight, Monira. I hope I said your name right. I love talking about control, so I'm here for that shit. Yes, that was beautifully said. Other thoughts? Anything else come up for you that was interesting in your conversations or that spoke to you? Or did somebody say something that was like, oh, shoot, that was snaps worthy. More people should hear that.
I'll speak again. In my group,
Please.
There's a lot of comparison with coworkers, which I wonder is also because job security is very low right now, and people who are even thinking of leaving their jobs, maybe they worry, maybe I should stick it out here because I don't know what's happening out there, right? I feel like a lot of people are worried about, looking for a job if they don't have one, or they have one and they don't think they should make any big moves because of how unpredictable the industries are.
Yeah, that's some real shit right there. I have a buddy of mine I'm actually talking to in a little while, who he got let go from his job actually right before COVID. So it wasn't even COVID related. He got let go of his job like literally 3 weeks before COVID. And then he had this other job like lined up and then it fell through last minute. And so we talked 2 weeks ago and he said, I have applied. I've heard in the last 2 or 3 months of applying to jobs, I've heard 60 no's. And he's he's a brilliant man, and with a whole lot going for him. But it's really, that fear is real. This shit is scary. I love it. Anything else come up for y'all?
I'll speak for a hot moment, James. It won't be long.
The only kind of moment you speak for, Robert.
I know. I don't want to go on a TED Talk. No one was here to listen to me talk. But our group was of hall directors and GAs. And I think I can say for the most of us, like that constant who we're around, what we go through and how we hear or what we're competitive on and stuff, and seeing like different committees, different tasks force that everybody else is on, and asking why aren't we on those, or did we not do something right for that, or and they're excelling, and then some of us are like, oh, we're good, we're calm. But it's also, I think it was it one of the members talked about how she reflects like during that time of down to be able to make herself better and be like, hey, it's okay. Like I got to work on myself too during those times. Cause we're constantly comparing. Like I know myself, like who I was a year ago to who I am today. There's some of my personal thoughts that have not been the same because it's who I'm around all the time impacts how you at the end of the day react to things. And I think that's one of our biggest things about comparing. And then still in like student leadership and like, okay, you see this person excelling in this area, why can't I do that? Or this person's going up above. But
yeah, that was brilliantly put, brother. Thank you for sharing that, and shout out to whoever that was dropping knowledge in that group. Also, snaps to them. I love it. I love it, my friends. Let's close this out. Let's close this out with two things. First off, one thing that people can do is oftentimes we have to talk to individuals. There's a lot of power in talking to individuals and just kind of voicing this. And so that's why we put you in breakouts to name some of these things. And even if you've been naming them, but you feel like you're just in this cycle of comparing yourself of, I don't know what to do. And I just feel stuck. And so, Laura, can I put you on the spot? Can you tell people a little bit about what you do as a coach and how you help people?
Absolutely. As you were doing that, my husband was like, what do you want for lunch? I'm like, now is not the time. I help people make decisions mostly. So what I loved what James was talking about earlier was
oh no. Did you just freeze? Is she freezing?
The idea of the trunk and I hate this happening.
Laura. Hang on. This is the worst thing ever.
Kind of what you want to create in your world. Is my internet crapping out?
It just crapped out. You got to start over again. Start over. Turn off the Wi-Fi on your phone.
It's not even on.
Okay. Go again.
Now?
Yep.
Okay. So I help people with their internet connections and making magic happen in their homes during a time of COVID and virtual issues. So James's trunk analogy, mine is getting people into the driver's seat of their lives. So feeling like you are in control of what's going to happen in your world. So I do a lot of kind of getting rid of the stories in your head, getting rid of the negative self-talk, that mind chatter, and just making you feel like, hey, what do you want to make happen? And let's kind of manifest that in your space. So that's a lot of what my coaching is. And I have a lot of fun with the people that I hang out with.
She's damn good at it, y'all. One of the reasons why we secretly hired Laura was not so that she could help us out administratively. It's that we could now literally have her on staff as a coach. We have her on retainer and retainer. No. But she, she's made a huge difference in my life. I encourage you to at least set up a conversation. I know, Laura, you typically do a free session up top for sure to get to know individuals. So throw your email in the chat, Laura, so people know how to reach out to you. At least have a free conversation. Even that one conversation is going to help you. So jump on a call with her for sure. Then let's close with this idea, my friends. There are some things that we need to remember. Here's some things that I want you to remember. Can you see my slide deck right now? Laura, can you see it? Great. Awesome, because I don't have any other pictures up here. So the things that I need you to remember are this going forward. It's not letting me do that. First off is that this is a process. We've been talking about comparing ourselves to other people forever, right? It's something that we know that's come up. Social media has obviously been a thing. And so we know that it is something that we have been talking about, but it is a process to begin to compare ourselves less to other people. Next thing I need you to remember is that you don't deserve the shame that you feel. When you think you deserve it, that's actually the shame telling you that you deserve it. It is a cyclical beast, and it is not effective. Read Daring Greatly by Brene Brown over and over again if you need to. But it's a great book at different points of your life for sure. I read it in the middle of a divorce. That was hard, but also important. But still, you do not deserve the shame that you feel. As much as you think you may, you actually do not. You deserve to be free. You deserve peace. You deserve to be able to pursue things that you want to pursue, regardless of what has happened in your past. You deserve that. You must remember that. Next, take a break. Taking a break from and creating separation, doing things like unfollowing, or on Instagram, there's a mute button where you don't have to actually unfollow somebody, but you can just mute them so you don't see their stuff in their timeline. Their story doesn't pop up for you for a while. So many of us followed Instagram accounts 3 years ago that when we followed them, we're like, this is going to be motivation. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to get into real estate. I'm going to get a new car. I'm going to And here we are 3 years later, and we still follow it because we haven't done shit. And so we think we need to keep following it to make ourselves feel bad about how we haven't done anything. No, taking a break is healthy. Rid yourself of it. If you have some friends that when you are around and they just make you feel shame for whatever reasons, hit pause on them for a second and come back to it. Work through what you need to work through. If they're great friends, they're going to be there at the end also. And last, maybe this is last, I don't remember. Another thing that Laura taught me this one, and this is a classic Laura phrase right here, is that don't compare your first day to someone's 100th. I think I misquoted her a little bit, but Laura, hopefully I'm close enough. But still, this is something that you got me really to think about, Laura, and I appreciate that, is if you're just starting, it's tough to compare. Like, I just started this Diner Talks show, and I'm comparing it to Facebook live shows that have who knows how many followings. And I'm comparing it to John Krasinski's Some Good News, and be like, oh, God, I fucking post one video, he's got 3 million views on it. I post a video, I get 100, right? Like, we both posted positive things. Why isn't it like, it doesn't make sense. Why would I compare my start to John Krasinski's idea? So it's important to think about that. And the last thing, my friends, is that you, in fact, are enough. Right now, you are enough. And so when you compare yourselves to other individuals, it's not helping you. It's hurting you. So let's stay in the process of getting away from that. Because you are enough to do whatever it is that you want to do. I'm so excited that we got to hang out today, friends. I really appreciate you for coming through. If y'all have questions, let's talk about it in the chat. But I really appreciate y'all. And thanks for being vulnerable with each other today. That's awesome.